welcome to Anne-Marie's Workshop. My name is Anne-Marie and I love to make things with joy. This is an anatomy of a sew that goes along with my hashtag Sew Reversible 2023 challenge for the month of August 2023. Now this anatomy of the sew precedes a sew along, which will be coming out on Saturday. But I wanted to show you some of the points, especially if you're working with your own reversible garments and you're kind of wondering how to get away with certain things. Maybe something on the anatomy of this particular skirt might be something you can use. All right, so this wrap skirt is based on McCalls 7129 pattern. I am doing this view right here, I believe, only I've eliminated the ties. All right, so that's the one I'm working on. It is open to double siding as they show you. The only difference is I don't enclose my hem in bias tape, at least not the same bias tape. I like to separate it so that the skirt can move. All right, so let me show you some of the points of mine. First of all, this fabric was fabulous. Now, the first thing I did was I chose two fabrics that were relatively light. I did not choose a heavy and a light. That is an option. A heavy, a denim with a light voile, or two medium weight twills, or especially if you're living somewhere that's very, very cold, you might choose to have two medium weight fabrics to keep you warm if you're a skirt and boot girl like I used to be. All right, so this black backing fabric I would not have worn on its own as a skirt because you can clearly kind of see my shirt through it, but it's the exact right weight to be paired with this Ankara, this super brilliant Ankara. All right, so that's one tip right there. Now, when I made this and I cut it out, it was a very simple make. The only thing that's a little bit complicated is I love a pocket in my clothing if I can get away with it. So one of the things that you have to remember when you're doing a reversible garment is that you cannot put both pockets on both sides of the garment. It creates too much bulk. So I had to reverse engineer putting one pocket in one color on one side. So for instance, one color on one side, and then making another pocket. So you are going to end up with 4 pocket pieces. It's just that 2 are going to open up on one side and 2 are going to open up on the other side. So you will have 2 pockets, but you'll only be able to utilize one pocket at a time, unless as a security thing, you might want to include something. This is the other side. In that other pocket, that is another benefit to reversible clothing, is that one pocket would be not open to outside and you could put some things inside of that pocket. All right. Now, another thing about the anatomy of this is when it came time to do the hem or to close this, let's just say when it came time to close the side of the skirt, I used one of my reversible hacks. Now, one of the best parts about a reversible garment is the surprise of the other side. Now, you don't want your sides to roll over and reveal what's on the other side. So one of the hacks that I do is as I sew it, I include a band of stitch witchery on the seam, and when I press it, it solidifies what side is what. So I can't, let me see, I'll pull it apart because I can always stitch it back. So within this seam is a layer of stitch witchery. All right, so the first couple of times you do this, you might panic. Am I really lining up the edge so that it's perfect? As you can see, it's not perfect here, but it doesn't bother it because it's black and it doesn't show. The other side can accommodate the black. But if it was two really opposite colors, you'd have to be very careful. But you can always pull it apart and iron it again. But I iron it after I've stitched and trimmed. And that way it doesn't roll, as you can see. The red stays on the red side, the black stays on the black side. So on this skirt, that was how I finished the sides of the skirt. There's that side, and here is the other side. The stitch witchery is in there, keeping it from rolling with those colors. Okay, so let's talk about the hem. Now, on this McCalls pattern, they enclose the hem inside a single piece of bias tape, and that is an option. But I find that very sometimes the fabrics, they assume their full tensile strength at different rates. So I hang my skirt 24 hours to see how far it's going to stretch out. And you may find that this fabric may stretch out more than this fabric, or vice versa. Or maybe they're both compatible and there's no problem. But after you've done that, I like to create a different bias binding for each skirt. I find that it gives the skirt more volume, more swish, more swing, and you don't have this habit of sometimes when you enclose them together, they grow at different lengths over time, and then you get this puddling at the bottom because one is not compatible with the other. But if they're loose, they're fine. If anything, if this really starts to droop way below, you can always take this bias tape off and add another bias tape over time. Okay? All right, so that is how I did the hem on this skirt. Now, sometimes I'm extra and I like a crinoline in my skirt because I need more swish if that's possible. So on the sew along, I will show you how I create this brace. This is this, what would I call it? Well, it's what I use to hang my crinoline on. If I want this to be a real flirty skirt and really stand out, and I'm going to add a crinoline to it, then I will include this piece in the waistband, and that's what I did. And you'll see that in the sew along. It is just a line of eyes that are secured on this twill tape, which you can buy already made. You don't have to sit there with eyes and stitch them equally along this twill tape, but you can if, like me, sometimes you're someplace where you can't readily get all the supplies you want. On the back is a piece of bias binding that is opened up and stitched flat to another piece to provide a base to sew this twill tape on. And then my crinoline has an adjoining one that just hooks in place. So you can put the crinoline in to make your skirt poof more, or you can remove it. But this will be in the sew along. Now my last choice was my closing. I decided since I was not doing a tie, I was going to do a button clothing. So that you just have to kind of reverse engineer it if you're getting confused. This button coordinates with this fabric because it's going to be seen when you button it with the other side. Okay? All right, so then on the other side, I have stitched a black button that you will see when it is closed from the other side, and your yellow button will be secured the other way. Now, I'm an apple shape, so I find a lot of times skirts and pants and everything my waist is not in proportion to the rest of me. So very often I have very little space between my rib cage and my hip bones. So I tend to have to allow more space on a skirt or something to accommodate my waist. So as you know, sometimes your waist goes up and down. So I chose with a With a tie, you can adjust, but I wanted a button this time. And so I can move these buttons either way, depending upon how my waist is going at that particular month, if I should need to change it. Now, another thing I included were these snaps along the edge, and that was just for modesty in case a really great wind comes along and blows your skirt open. These little snaps will keep it in place. Now please come back to the channel tomorrow to see how I style this skirt. All right, I hope you're having fun working on your garments. Make sure, if you're working in progress, go ahead and post to #SewReversible, WIP, Works in Progress.